truth. We're about wisdom. We're about empowerment. Urban Family Talk.
You know, one of the things that was really huge for us in doing this show was, man, we wanted to get the kind of information out to people that we felt like just wasn't getting out.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say this unapologetically, especially in the urban community. We just felt like there's so much information that we believe. I'm going to be frank for a minute, and then we're going to get into it.
Okay.
We believe that there was information that's being withheld from the urban community on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and we believe that what was being pumped into the community instead of information was just shenanigans, you know, foolishness, you know, well, they don't want to, they can't understand that.
Right.
That's over their heads, you know. They don't want to talk about that.
And
just
look,
just
some
dance.
of the comments that Michelle Obama has made proves that.
That is true.
You know?
Come on,
Yeah.
Will.
Y'all,
Come
y'all
on.
don't need to don't worry
You don't
about
know,
that. Just,
don't worry about the information.
Yeah,
just
just-
vote this, you know.
Yeah.
And so, man, that was another part
Man,
of,
so
of
crazy.
the reason we felt compelled to do this, because we said, man, if we do a show, we're going to do a show and address the people as people who are designed by God and have the ability to think, and not only that, but think independently. Just give me the information. Let me prayerfully make my decisions about what's happening, you know. So anyway, with that being one of the components of the show, without further ado, Abe, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
How
guys
are you?
doing?
great.
Oh,
man.
good. Always
Great.
good. You know, eagerly awaiting your arrival, you know what I'm saying? And so we could get into it. Now, last time we ran out of time, we were talking about the Electoral College
Yes.
and how those numbers tally up. And I have to tell you, I'm really interested in that. And one of the things that interests me in the Electoral College is how some people have used sort of a faulty understanding of that process to say, I don't matter in the general election. Like, my vote doesn't really matter. So in case people were not listening, if we could kind of pick up with the Electoral College, how it works, why our individual votes matter, then
Right.
we can move on from there.
Right. So as we discussed last week, to have a proper appreciation of the Electoral College, you have to have a proper appreciation of our constitutional Republican form of government. Obviously,
Okay.
not referring to a particular political party, but referring to the process to where you have popular participation buttressed by a means of reining in the propensity of men to have wicked hearts. So the Electoral College is another one of those checks and balances that is implemented to maintain that process. It is a conflation of the popular vote, the participation of the popular vote, as well as a state-by-state determined means of electing only the office of the president. And you have to also keep in mind that the founders always surmised that the federal government would have the least amount of impact on day-to-day life in America.
Okay.
Okay, so the way that it works is, like I said before, the United States Constitution provides that there are an equal number of electors as there are members of Congress, meaning both houses of Congress, the United States Senate and the United States House of Representatives.
Okay.
Today, there are a total of 538 electors. These are the individuals who actually elect the president. But the way that the electors are obligated to vote is determined by each state's legislature.
Say
A
that
lot of
again.
people don't
Abe.
realize that.
Yeah, say that again. I think
Yes.
that's really critical to our understanding.
It's critical
here.
to understand the state legislatures of each and every state of the United States determines how the electors cast their votes in light of the popular votes for their state. So, as it stands today, every state except for maybe 2 or 3 require their electors to vote for whomever the states have voted for popularly. So, for example, in Louisiana, my home state, as the popular vote goes in Louisiana, let's say one candidate or over another gets the majority of the popular vote, then the legislature has instructed by law the electors to cast the vote on behalf of Louisiana, meaning Louisiana's electors, those members of the Electoral College, in favor of the candidate who was popularly elected in Louisiana.
So when you have like a red state, blue state,
Yes.
so so I guess the argument comes in for people that it don't matter, even though I'm a Democrat and I live in a Republican. I mean, you know, a mainly Republican state. Why should I even vote? Because you know it's gonna be Republican
Or
anyway,
vice
or vice
versa.
versa.
Yeah.
Vice
It's usually-
versa, yeah. It
so
does.
that's the
It does matter because, once again, like I said last time, first of all, the greatest hint that you have to the importance of the popular vote is how much money these people are spending for it, all right? Jeb Bush just spent $36 million on the
Aye.
primaries in New Hampshire, and you see where he came.
right.
Yeah.
$36 million. The
Wow.
popular vote is critically important, but the popular vote alone is not critically important. That's why your state elected officials are also critically important.
Wow.
Because
Break it down. That's good.
Each state can change how they determine how the electors vote, depending on what the will of the state's people want.
Yeah.
So using my state as an example, if Louisiana determines, look, we don't want our electors to just everybody go for whoever the majority vote gets. We want it to be apportioned based on the percentage they get. That's your right as a citizen. But once again, as you alluded to before, Miki, by keeping us ignorant, we don't know how the process works. We don't know exactly how to engage in order to make it work the way we want it to work.
Man, this
But
is fascinating to
It
me.
is. It
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
as you can recall, the number of electors directly reflect the number of representatives you have in the United States Congress. So for each state, you have 2 senators. Each state has 2 senators. And the number of House of Representatives members vary depending on the population. Like, for example, following Hurricane Katrina, Louisiana lost members of the United States House of Representatives because the number of representatives is directly proportional to the population of the state.
Wow.
Which is why, I'm sorry, go ahead and ask your
No,
question.
go ahead. Let me-
Which is
you
why
finish.
this whole idea of amnesty is so critical.
Yes.
It's so
Goodness.
critical
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you all of a sudden overnight, bam, you have, let's say, they're saying 11 million, but let's keep it real. It's about 40, 50 million people here, to be
Wow.
honest. And I'm telling you this as having lived in Texas. It's more
Sure.
Hispanics in Texas than black folks. I don't know if people realize that.
Wow. No, I didn't. I didn't realize that.
Blacks are the smallest minority in America now.
Yes,
There are more
yes.
Hispanics than blacks here. So you can see why, and I heard you earlier in the week alluding to the fact that, you know what, nobody's pandering to black folks. They discount you. For
Yeah,
one reason,
they
they
don't need to.
recognize that blacks vote for Democrats 90+% of the time. And 2, they recognize that we're a dwindling population.
That's
Think
right.
about that. We've been
That's
here from
right.
the beginning, but now there are
Come
more
on.
Hispanics here than us.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yep.
Because they know we're killing our babies,
Right. And not reproducing.
and we're not having any.
Right. That's right.
Our
That's
fam-
right.
And we got beef with people who have a lot of them because we think
Come
they
on.
don't know how to control
Something
that.
wrong with them.
Oh, man. Come on,
So
man.
while we're doing all of that and playing like it don't have consequences, the people that are watching population changes and demographic shifts know this, which is why you don't see much pandering to the black community, even though we had a black president in office.
Yeah, because
for the
it's
last 8
unnecessary.
years.
They don't
Right.
need to do
But
it.
you see everybody falling over themselves to pander to the Hispanics
Wow.
because
Wow.
they're trying to get a voting base.
That's
Because
right.
So-
if they flood Texas and turn Texas to become Democratic,
Right.
there will never, ever be anything other than a non-Democratic president elected because of the way the Electoral College works.
So, so what's the point of a Bernie Sanders and a Hillary Clinton now trying to, make this push for black vote?
Because right now, as it stands today, on
it's
what's today,
still-
the
it's still
11th,
relevant.
February
Still
11th,
need to get that.
well, it's not only that it's relevant specifically in the Democratic demographics, because they know that in order to win the Democratic nomination, they have to have the black votes.
In their party.
In
on
their
side,
party,
they have to
on
have
their,
that. Okay.
and they have assumed with money and calculations that the black folks are gonna vote for whoever the Democratic person is gonna be.
So this whole
Wow.
immigration
Wow.
issue is crucial. There's a guy, Michael Johnson. He was
Yeah.
way back talking to me about this immigration
Yes.
issue,
Yes.
and
Yes.
not only politically, but how it affects the
He's
the,
from California. He's
Yeah,
from
the black
Compton.
community.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
And can I just be real? They're-
Please, let's be real.
The Democrats are trying to run the same play twice.
Yes.
Because see, Lyndon Johnson said that we're going to give these Negroes
Exactly.
something.
Come on,
Exactly.
And they're
man.
going to be Democrats for at least the next 40
Exactly.
years.
They're doing the same thing.
And so they ran that play, handed
And it
it off,
worked.
and
Come
it
on,
worked
man.
90+% every election. So
Come
that's
on.
why they're falling over themselves to get the Hispanics in their grasps.
Man.
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
feel like if we can be the ones to give them citizenship, they will be Democrats
They'll
for
be
the next
beholden to
generation.
us.
Oh,
or two.
my goodness.
Truth. We're about wisdom. We're about empowerment. Urban Family Talk.